Is 20 minutes away from 10.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Kiwi.
Very pleased to welcome my next guests into the Kiwi studio, Flip Grater and Delaney Davidson. Hello to you, Flip.
Good morning, Wammo.
Good morning, Wammo.
And Delaney, yeah, it's nice to have you both in on a bit of a tour at the moment. But before we do get on and talk about the tour and what's behind that, can you tell me about your summers, Flip? First of all, what have you been up to?
Well, summer's just started really, but I have spent a little bit of time in the Bay of Islands, which has been lovely.
Yeah.
Went over to Urupukupuka Island, and it was my first time that far north, so it was very special.
Whereabouts in the Bay of Islands is that? I guess it's a Bay of Islands, so there's plenty of islands around.
It's one of the islands in the Bay of Islands. I don't know where it is.
Somewhere up
I got on a boat and it got me there.
In the northern part of New Zealand.
Yes.
Yeah. And what was happening there?
Just a bit of a group camping New Year's, which was really lovely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very nice. And what about Christmas? And did you spend that with family?
I went down to Christchurch for Christmas and spent it with family. So that was quite lovely, although not quite hot enough.
Yeah.
Now that I've moved to Auckland, I feel like I've adjusted to enjoying the heat up here, and so it was a bit of a shock to go down and need to wear a coat again and things like that.
Yeah. And is New Zealand kind of home at the moment? Because I know that you did spend a little bit of time overseas as well.
Yeah, I did a 2-month European tour last year, but I'm back and I'm living in Auckland, and I've just recorded a new record, and I'm going to be going back to France this year, probably in April or May.
Okay. And
spending some time over there.
Choice. Delaney, what about yourself? What have you been up to?
Well, summer-wise, I've got a strange setup where I sort of leave a country when the winter comes, and then that's how my touring schedule works. So I've had summer for about 4 years now.
Nice. That is totally the way to work it.
Occasional taste of winter. Have to get out the long trousers somewhere.
Yeah.
So
where have you been? Where have you been going in the Northern Hemisphere?
Well, this last year I left New Zealand in March, 29th of March, and then went to Europe, where I did a European tour, and then I went to the States and did a tour of the West Coast, and then back to Europe, did another tour of there, and then called in for another tour of the States on the way back to New Zealand in December. Very
nice.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I guess, brings us on to what this tour is about. Who wants to explain why this particular tour with you guys and an extra has come about?
I think Flip wants to explain that.
I think there was a pig's knot symbol that I pulled out.
Is that what it was? I thought you were saying, I'll do it. Well, the tour came about, me and Flip talked about, we met each other last March, and over late night talking, come up with the concept of doing a tour together, and I was approached by Marianne Dessard when I was in Europe, and I was getting ready to come to the States, and she was talking about touring in New Zealand, and we worked out we were going to meet up. We were both going to be playing at this festival in the Joshua Tree in the middle of the desert. And we met and we made a conspiracy to coerce Flip Grater into including Marianne in the tour. And
why not?
Why not, indeed. So then Flip was
they started
totally
email harassing me.
And the Tour de Toi came about from that, really. And also a shared interest of all of us in this European style, I guess, European folk-based music and this new alternative country music coming out of America.
New alternative country as opposed to the old alternative.
Well, old country's been around a while now, so this is like neo-alt country.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what is different about this European flavour?
I don't know. I guess it's there's so much music around that has a really distinctive Americana feel, and even in my own music that I write, I'll find that's one of those American style songs, and that's one of those more European style songs, and so you can try and mix the two in a song, or you can leave them quite separate. I guess
and that's it's musical composition, not necessarily the lyrics.
Yep, it'll be the composition. It'll be probably a lot more minor chords, and it would be more waltz-based, maybe
waltzy,
polka-style stuff. Maybe a bit of a tango feel in there sometimes.
Yeah. It's interesting. We had a science slot on the show yesterday, and we were talking about what makes emotional music emotional.
Yeah.
And we're talking about those minor chords. I
Yeah.
think minor chords, but they imitate human speech. So if someone is down about something and they're not very happy, then we understand that as humans what that sounds like in speech, whether it be whether you be speaking French, Italian, or New Zealand, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a universal thing.
Yeah.
But music reflects the speech.
Oh, yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I think so. I think the amazing thing about chords and how they work is how they work in relation to each other. So for the minor chord to work really effectively, you want to have a couple of major chords to set it up, and then when you go to that minor chord, its real value comes in, because if you play a whole song full of minor chords, it sounds pretty flat, or it doesn't really pique the interest. But the interesting thing about the chords is when you do that switch from major to minor, and the note that is in a chord that makes it a major chord, you can play the next chord that same note makes the next chord a minor chord.
Right. Yeah.
And that's really when it starts to get interesting. Right?
Yeah. Wow, we could go into that for quite a bit, no doubt.
Sure
but you have brought in the instruments that make the chords happen and make the music. So
called guitars.
Yeah, that's right. Guitars.
They are traditionally
You're
called
onto it.
guitars, but we could, explore new names.
Yeah. So we'll get you to play some songs here in the studio.
Okay.
Nice, cool.
All right.
Flip Grater and Delaney Davidson.
This is one of my songs. It's off my first record. It's called This Road Leads Home. Have you ever seen my face? Outside these walls of the blue waves, far from the war we made, far from the war we made. I know this road leads home, and I'll walk this road alone. And have you ever known my name? This name I own till my dying day. Far from the war we made, far from the war we made. I know
That is Flip Grater, accompanied by Delaney Davidson. This road leads home. This road, all these roads, this road leads home.
All these roads lead home. This road leads home is what it's called.
They eventually all lead home.
They do.
Very apt for the tours, and we start, well, Flip's new home is in Auckland, but actually both being from Christchurch, we go down the country and we'll end up in Christchurch. So we do, what do we do, Lee tonight?
Lee tonight, Auckland tomorrow.